So this morning we're going to talk about software and firmware updates on your equipment. In the past we used to have our service techs or the support guys over here would typically do the installs for you on your controllers and our receivers. As going forward here, Trimble's made it easier for us to do upgrades on our controllers where all the jobs and the survey styles and all of your geoids and everything stay updated with the software. So we encourage our customers to do these upgrades themselves now rather than sending them in. Also going to go through receiver firmware upgrades through WinFlash, whether it's any of the R series receivers all the way up through the R10. I'll also talk about how we can update the R10 via Wi-Fi. I'm going to touch briefly on the total station firmware updates and finish it up with a new product that Trimble's released called InSpheres. So getting started, you'll hear us talk about TAME, which is Trimble Access Installation Manager. It pretty much is the tool we use to update all of your controllers now. Also add different modules into the data collectors, checking current versions of software for the controllers, and there's also some sample data in there that I'll also kind of touch base as well. So first thing what we want to do is make sure that you do have a valid warranty on your controller. By opening up your data collector, we go over here in the upper left-hand corner, we have the globe and triangle. So when you click on the globe and triangle, a little pop-up box comes up. There's Trimble Access, arrange icons, which you can move any of these icons in the order that you might want. And then we have this little About button. If you go into About, you'll see what current version of Trimble Access you are running, obviously the serial number of your data collector, and then what your current software warranty expiration is. This is actually off of my emulator on my computer. The current version on mine is 2014-01, and as of this morning, Trimble just released 2014-10. There's going to be some pretty significant advances in 2014-10 due to roading modules, so we'll be releasing something about those new releases coming up very shortly. So first thing you want to do is make sure you do have the current warranty expiration to allow you to update the software on your controller. If you aren't up to date, definitely get a hold of me and we'll help you guys get up to date on that. Staying current on your warranty will also allow you to stay current on the software and take advantage of these enhancements that Trimble releases. The actual executable Trimble Access Installation Manager looks like this. What will happen is once you're connected to it, it'll pop up and give you little check boxes of what currently you have on the controller and what you're allowed to have. You'll see this little trial software tab on the side here. There's several different modules that third-party companies create for Trimble, and there's 30-day trials in there. Feel free to download some of those and look into them and see if there's something useful for you in there. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to hop in, show you how to get to Trimble Access Installation Manager. Hopefully everybody can still see my screen. So through a web browser, you're just going to go to trimble.com. We see up here we have Support and Training. So if you go to the Support and Training tab, then go to Support A to Z. You have the full complete product list A to Z. And what you're going to do is scroll down to, or I like to actually pick the actual letter that allows us to jump right to that section. So I'm going to Trimble, then I'm going to go down here to Trimble Access. We're in the Trimble Access Field Software tab. We're just going to go to the Downloads tab. Inside Downloads, you see these help files, different download for Office software packages. But right here is what we want to see. We want to see Trimble Access Installation Manager, or otherwise known as TAME. I'm going to actually execute TAME. So it's a pretty quick process now when we run tame to update our controllers. In the past it was pretty slow. Once again, we'd have to copy our jobs out of there and convert them. This process will actually convert everything for you. Right now it's probably trying to connect to my emulator and give us a list of what is available for me. What you do need to have is you do need to have a live internet connection, because what happens is Tame will go to Trimble's server and search for your serial number. Once it's found your serial number, it'll let you know what you are available to get. If you don't have an internet connection, then you aren't really going to be able to process to the latest version. So make sure you're running off a computer that does have internet access. So as we see, we have all these different modules that are available. Once again, this is my emulator, so pretty much all of them are available on mine: roads, tunnels, mines. Once again, there's a full list of different softwares you can put on there. As we scroll down, you always want to make sure if you're going to run an update that you do check the English tab on here. What that is the English voice that you hear on your controller. If that's not checked, you might not have that voice where the girl talks to you on the controller. So just always make sure the language file is checked. We can look at trial software. So here's all the different trials we have in here. Some of them are obviously not for U.S.-based companies. They do stuff over in Germany for the railroads. We have these different leveling options inside here. Bathymetric survey. Once again, these are just 30-day trials, but there may be something in there that you guys might want to look into. So I'm going to jump back here. Obviously, the newest version was just released this morning, 2014-10. So all I'm going to do from there is hit install. Okay, that's pretty much it. It's going to look through everything. It's going to update my jobs and update my controller. I'm not going to bore you guys with that for now, so we're going to jump out of it. So that's pretty much it for your controllers. Trimble Access Installation Manager will take care of everything for you. Moving forward into WinFlash. So once again, WinFlash is used for updating the firmware in our receivers. If we had to add radio channels, we will also use WinFlash. If we're updating the warranty, you'll receive a new code. We'll also enter that through WinFlash. So whether it's a 5700, 58, any of the R series receivers, it's all done in WinFlash. Once again, you're going to find that through a browser, trimble.com. Come to support and training. You got the A to Z again. Click on T. Today I'm actually going to show you Trimble R6 receiver. Once again, we get into the R6 portion of it, and we're going to click on Downloads. Inside Downloads, we have these different utilities that are inside here. You'll see a lot of times that the version that's available, which the current version right now is 4.84, that's also the same version that's available for the R8s and the R10s. Even I believe the R4s and R5s. So they pretty much keep those all even going forward on, say, the R6 Model 3s, 4s, and R8 Model 4s. They'll always keep those current. So what we want to do is we want to connect our receiver after we've downloaded WinFlash. Connect our receiver to a computer. Little picture here illustrates where we're connect to. We can either connect to port 1 or port 2. Port 1 is a LEMO connection, so you'll be using this yellow LEMO to serial cable. Typically, they come with most systems. If you don't have this yellow cable, a serial to serial cable will also work in port 2. Also, a lot of computers don't come with serial ports anymore, so you might need to find, if you're using the serial to LEMO, you might need to find a USB to serial converter. Done a lot of research on this. Typically, you can find a decent one at Best Buy. Dynex is a brand that seems to work. There's a lot of them out there that don't work, so be careful what you pick up. Once again, I've tested Dynex and it works. However, it does not work with the modern radios that we sell now, the TDLs and PDLs. This Trip Light works really well. It can be found at Tiger Direct, and it seems to work on everything, our radios and all of our receivers. So tigerdirect.com, you can order them online. They're about $30. I'm going to hop WinFlash right now. So once you've downloaded WinFlash, you'll get this little icon in your Start menu. Once you open up WinFlash, if you've only downloaded it for the first time, you may only see one line in here. You may only see this Trimble R10, R8, R6, and R4 receiver option. Once again, all of our updates of all of our firmware and our receivers and radios will go through WinFlash. At least the older radios do. So you may want to populate it with other receivers if your company has more than one type of receiver. So today I'm picking the R6. I'm actually connecting on a COM12 through my USB to serial. I'll click on that. I'll hit Next. Several different options will pop up inside here. And first thing I like to do is actually see what my warranty expiration is on my receiver before I try to install anything on here. So if I scroll down to the bottom of the screen, we'll have this Verify GPS software version. But we actually have Verify Receiver options. So first what I want to do is Verify Receiver options. This will tell me everything that I can do with this receiver, and it'll also let me know when my warranty is expiring. Click on it and hit Next, then Finish. WinFlash is an older program. It's been around for quite a few years. It's not lightning fast. It does take some time to connect to the receiver. Once again, we're going through serial. Even if we're plugged into USB to serial, it takes some time. So just be patient with it. With your receiver powered up, you'll see all of the lights on the receiver will light up, and then they'll start to flash a little bit once it's actually made its connection. So once we're connected to the R6, we see we have all these different outputs and different products that are enabled inside of it. If we look down here at the bottom, we see our firmware option, and the expiration on this particular receiver is June of 2015. So I know I can get to the latest and greatest. There's also, if you look when you download the WinFlash version, there'll be release notes. They'll let you know what you can go to on which receiver. So even if your receiver is out of warranty, you may still be able to jump a version or two depending on when it was released. So I'm just going to hit OK on that. Let it reboot really quick. And then I'm going to go right back in to connect to my R6. So if I go in my menu, now what I want to do is verify my GPS software version. Next on that and finish. And once again, it'll take a few seconds here for it to connect to the receiver. If you are out of warranty on your receiver and you do want to add a warranty to it, firmware and hardware, we can do that all the way back to R8 Model 2s. We can only do firmware right now. So we can still add hardware warranties to these, and I will show you in a second what to do if we are going to add warranties to them. So right now we're connected. Once again, we've got our serial number of our receiver, the current software version that is on it, which is the latest, greatest that I have, and we have these boot versions and radio versions. So I'm just going to hit OK on that. Go back to my menu. If I was a version or two behind, what I would do here is I would go to Load GPS Software. Next on that. And once again, there will be a list. Possibly, if you've only done WinFlash for the first time, all you'll see is this R6 Model 4 firmware version 4.84. Every time you add a new firmware in, it'll populate this field, so there'll be other options inside of here. If you are out of warranty and or have just recently ordered a new warranty for this, we'll also update this inside here. So if we look at our list inside here, we have Update Receiver Options now. If I click on Update Receiver Options, I hit Next on that, what it wants is a password from us, and what you'll actually select is a legacy password. Once the warranty's been ordered through me, I'll email you a 16-digit password. You'll go in here and type in that 16-digit password, hit next, and it'll update the warranty on your receiver, which will allow you to go to the latest, greatest version of firmware on it. We always recommend staying up to date on the firmware of the receivers, especially if you're going to stay up to date on the software on the controllers. Every time they release something, typically they match them up in some way or some shape, whether it's things that they might have seen in VRS networks or RTN networks, or just standard everyday use. Sometimes there's new releases due to timing for clocks and stuff like that from the satellites. So always try to stay up to date on that if you can. I'm not going to get into configuring the radio too much. However, if we were going to add radio channels, we would go into configure radio settings here, and based on your license, you would actually input radio channels in. Typically, we will do that for you. So that's pretty much as far as I'm going to go with WinFlash. On the R series, I'm going to touch base in a minute about the R10. However, the R10 can be updated through WinFlash, but I'm going to actually show you another way we can do it through Wi-Fi now. So let's close this down. Connecting a Trimble R10 Wi-Fi. So any of you that do have R10s out there now, or going forward, if you do purchase an R10, you'll notice on the keypad there is a little icon of a wireless option on there. It can be enabled or disabled through a controller. So typically we'll shut them off upon delivery just to help save on battery, because typically when you're in the field, you're not really going to need a Wi-Fi connection for your receiver, so we'll shut them off. However, if you're going to be doing any kind of firmware updates, the easiest way to turn them on is through a controller. So once the Wi-Fi is active on the R10, you'll see it flashing. And what you'll want to do is, next to your PC, just have it set up on the desk, and at the bottom of your computer, you'll have your little wireless icon down here. If you're to click on that, your list will populate with the different wireless connections that are available. What you'll do is you'll click on the Trimble GNSS, and it'll be the last 4 digits of the receiver serial number. We click on that, and it'll actually create a wireless connection. From there, we're actually going to go into a web browser, and we're going to type in this address. So none of this needs to be written down right now. These are all available inside a little cheat sheet inside the case of the R10, a little step-by-step procedure on how to connect via Wi-Fi. So you'll just type in this 192.168.142.1 in a web browser, and it will connect to the receiver. Authentication is required. It has a default username and password that come with every R10 receiver, which is admin, and the password is password. Do not change these. Going forward, anybody who gets an R10, we don't want to ever change these. If you were to change them, write it down in about 10 different places, because if you lose this username and password, we pretty much have to, the receiver has to come in for service, and we have to reset the entire board. So we just leave them as admin and password and hit login. You can also, there'll be a checkbox that says save information, so you won't even have to worry about that going forward. So once you're logged in, you'll actually have a web UI connection on the screen. And if anybody's ever seen any of our network receivers, very similar to the connections that we set up through our networks. All of your receiver options, the activity, you can track, you can see what satellites you're tracking. All this information can be done through a web UI. You have data logging inside here, so you can actually configure the receiver to do logging for static data on power-up. This is also where we can retrieve all the static data, so we can connect via Wi-Fi, pull our static files off there. We can configure the receiver in different options inside here. And then what we're looking at today is firmware. So you'd actually click on the firmware option at the bottom, and where we pulled in our WinFlash version, there's actually a web UI option to download from Trimble.com, where we would just click on that link to wherever we downloaded it to, and it would update the receiver. This is so much quicker than running this through WinFlash for the R10s. However, it's only available for the R10s right now. So going forward, I'm sure they're going to put it in all of our receivers in the future. But great tool to use if you want to do additional things for the receiver, but definitely this is where we go for our firmware. What else I have in here? Okay, moving forward, S-Series total stations. So once again, all of our firmware and software options are available at Trimble.com. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to Trimble.com, products A to Z, and then we're going to pick Trimble. Today I'm actually selecting a Trimble S-Series total station. We have the firmware release right here, the current firmware. Anytime that you bring a robot in to us for cleaning calibrations, our service techs do check to see what current version of firmware you're running. And if it's not at the latest version, they'll update it to that version. This is a free firmware for robots, so it's not like you have to worry about maintaining a warranty to get the firmware. However, we like to maintain warranties on the robots as well, just for hardware and free cleaning cals. So definitely, if you're coming in once a year for firmware or for cleaning cal, our service techs will update it. Pretty simple process though. If you want to do it yourself, you're gonna download this, and you'll get this little box that'll pop up connecting via USB to Hiroshi cable, or there is also a Hiroshi to serial cable that comes with all of our robots. So we can actually run this through USB. It's a little bit more modern than the WinFlash option. So once you're connected, it'll actually populate a list here, little pull-down list to select the instrument or device you're connected to, and then you'll start the process, and then it'll let you know when it's finished. Simple enough. If you're not comfortable doing any of this stuff, definitely let us know, and any of the service or sales guys can help you guys walk through any of this stuff. What I want to talk about right now really quick is a new release that Trimble's come out with called Trimble InSphere. I'm going to show you a video here because sometimes it's a little bit easier to show the videos than try to explain what InSphere is. But it's kind of our new platform for a centralized database for several different options. I know a lot of you guys are using Access Sync right now, so you're sending files back and forth to the cloud through My Connected Community. That is a small portion of this Trimble InSphere. There's now additional options inside here, and I think it's easier just to show you the video. Okay. Let's see if I can get this to flap now. right. All right. Sorry about that. So InSphere, once again, it's this new centralized database that Trimble's released. There's more information on Trimble's website on it, and might suggest also taking a look whenever you get a chance at Trimble's website due to the new releases that were released today. Trimble Business Center version 3.2 was just released. Some massive enhancements to it. They have 40 new enhancements to TBC software. Some information dealing on point clouds, from scan data to additional photogrammetry options inside there. We're probably going to be releasing our spring-summer newsletter over the next week or so that'll have some more information on the new enhancements of it. Also, new RealWorks was released, so there's some massive improvements in there as well. All this information will be part of our newsletter coming up. Really quick, I also want to mention a tech day we'll actually be hosting live, starting with one over here in Warrenville. Then I plan on probably doing one Iowa City, then maybe Des Moines. We're going to be talking more about photogrammetry. A lot of you are running our vision instruments now, and with the release of the V10, we really want to do probably a half-a-day hands-on training class on Trimble Business Center photogrammetry with Trimble Vision Instruments and V10 Imaging Rover. So look for something coming out on that probably over the next couple of weeks as well. It'll be probably, like I said, a half-a-day type of thing, a little bit of hands-on and office aspects. So with that said, that's all we're going to cover today. Also, look for our next month's quick tech tip on, not positive what that is yet. I'll release something on that as well. But any questions? See any hands up? If anybody has any questions, feel free to email me or call me. If they need help with any of the stuff we showed today, please let me know. We can definitely walk you through most of the stuff over the phone. So thank you for everybody attending. Have a good day.